President Biden extended an olive branch to Donald Trump to unite the country. Donald Trump just snapped it in half. It's what we expected was going to happen despite the corporate media narratives pushing out Donald Trump's, oh, it's changed him. No, it hasn't. He is the same individual he's always been his entire life, and he is a threat to our democracy. Just because of this incident, it doesn't change the reality of the things that he says and does every single day. We can absolutely condemn political violence in all of its forms, which we should absolutely do, but we should not cover our eyes and close our ears to the reality of what is happening, of what they are saying. Opposing threats to democracy is not ratcheting things up. It is calling it out like we should. Here's what Donald Trump just posted moments ago. As we move forward in uniting our nation after the horrific events on Saturday, this dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step, followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts. The January 6th hoax in Washington, D.C., the Manhattan District Attorney's zombie case, the New York Attorney General's scam, fake claims about a woman I never met, a decade-old photo in a line with her, then husband does not count, and the Georgia perfect phone call charges. The Democrat Justice Department coordinated all of these political attacks, which are an election interference conspiracy against Joe Biden's political opponent, me. Let us come together to end all weaponization of our justice system and make America great again. And to be very clear, for Donald Trump, what all of this means for him is always me, me, me. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about we the people. He doesn't care about our democracy. He doesn't care about our institutions. For him, unity means how can he screw us all over to enrich and benefit himself, period, full stop. I mean, here he is in this post calling the January 6th insurrection a hoax, saying it's not real, saying that a phone call that he made to Georgia to find him votes, to steal an election that he lost, is a perfect phone call, calling out a woman that he sexually assaulted. The leader of the Republican Party, as we head into the Republican convention today, as we head into the Republican convention, is is mocking his sexual assault victim. A federal judge said it's the same thing as rape, what Donald Trump engaged in. And Donald Trump's out there saying, I never met her. When Donald Trump had the opportunity to testify at that criminal trial, we remember what he did. He fled to Scotland. Remember, he went to Scotland and Ireland. He claimed that he was building something so that he couldn't testify because he was too afraid to show up and testify, and then blamed his lawyer and threw his lawyer under the bus in that case. Remember? I have the tapes just in case you want to see it. This is during the E. Jean Carroll trial when Donald Trump was supposed to testify. It was a civil case, so he was not required to testify, if he didn't want to. But here's what he did. Here, this is him in Ireland and Scotland on the trip he took. Play this clip.
I have to leave Ireland and I have to leave Scotland, where I have great properties. I have to leave early. I don't have to, but I choose to.
Will you attend the trial, Mr. President?
I'll probably attend, and I think it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace that it's allowed to happen. It's called false accusations against a rich guy, or in my case, against a famous, rich, and political person that's leading the polls by 40 points. And I have to go back for a woman that made a false accusation about me, and I have a judge who's extremely hostile. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to confront this one. This woman is a disgrace, and it shouldn't be allowed to happen in our country.
And he said he was going to go back and confront her, which he absolutely never did. And here Donald Trump is praising federal judge Eileen Cannon, the judge who he appointed after he lost in 2020, although he still claims to this day he didn't lose the 2020 election. Can we pause for a second? What a loser thing is that? To run on a 2024 platform that you didn't lose in 2020 when you lost the popular vote by millions and millions of votes and got blown out in the Electoral College, and you're still running and saying the election was rigged. And now you're praising a judge that you appointed who got a message from a corrupt Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas, who wrote a concurring opinion on his own, which was a message to Judge Eileen Cannon for her to dismiss the case against you for your theft of nuclear secrets and war plans, which we know you shared with other people because other people have talked about it. And we have you on audio recordings talking about war plans as well with people who shouldn't have it. You shared nuclear secrets with a member of Mar-a-Lago. And you're celebrating this today, the stealing of nuclear secrets, stealing of nuclear records. For Donald Trump, all this always means is how can this help him? And I just, again, want to be very, very clear from everyone, all the corporate media is like, oh, it's a new tone. It's not a new tone. He is the same person who says he wants to be a dictator. He's running on a platform of, I want to be a dictator. Here's a clip of him saying it. Play it.
We love this guy. He says, you're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, other than day one.
Here's another clip of him saying it. Play it.
When Sean Hannity the other night, I did a town hall. He's a good guy, too. He is a good guy. But he said, okay, because he wanted to, you're not going to be a dictator. Is that, you're not? I said, no, Sean, I'm going to be a dictator. I said that. Right. These guys know it better than I do. I'm going to be a dictator for one day.
Now, don't gaslight me and say, oh, well, he doesn't really mean that. He's joking. Oh, he said he's going to be a dictator for one day. Never in the history of the United States of America have we had someone run for the highest office in our land, or frankly, any office, on the premise that they're going to be a dictator or even joke about. That's supposed to be a funny joke. Are our lives just, is this humor in this cosplay fascist reality TV show that is the way corporate media wants to treat? Is that supposed to be funny? Is that supposed to be humorous? When Donald Trump gives speeches and says the January 6th insurrectionists are hostages, free the hostages, Joe, referring to the president of the United States as Joe and the insurrectionists as hostages. That's supposed to be humorous to you, corporate media. We're not supposed to take that seriously. That doesn't merit you writing editorials about it. Here, play this clip of Trump saying that.
What they've done, and they ought to, you know what they ought to do? They ought to release the J6 hostages. They've suffered enough. They ought to release them. I call them hostages. Some people call them prisoners. I call them hostages. Release the J6 hostages, Joe. Release them, Joe. You can do it real easy, Joe. This guy, what he's done to people.
Let's take a quick break to talk about our next sponsor, ZBiotics. If you're like me, you probably skipped a workout because of drinks the night before. Look, it happens. But if you're committed to your healthy routine, you need ZBiotics. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it most. Just remember to drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol, drink responsibly, and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Recently, I was celebrating my anniversary, and I knew my wife and I were going to enjoy a lovely night of drinking at a local winery as instructed. I drank a bottle of ZBiotics before any alcohol, and I was amazed at how good I felt the next day. Give ZBiotics a try for yourself. Go to zbiotics.com/Meidas to get 15% off your first order when you use code Meidas at checkout. That's MEIDAS. ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/Meidas and use the code Meidas, MEIDAS, at checkout for 15% off. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this episode.
So our opposition to somebody saying patently fascist and authoritarian things, that's not us ratcheting up the rhetoric. That is us calling attention to the issue. You know, I remember this is what we've been saying all along. We're telling you what Judge Cannon's going to do. And remember, all of like the elites were saying, oh, MeidasTouch, you're just using hyperbole. This is hyperbolic rhetoric, and you know the titles that you use are you just chill out. It's not a big deal. Well, this is Noah Rosenblum, a professor at NYU, who he goes, I have been suspicious of the Judge Cannon is undermining the rule of law to protect Donald Trump line of argument, mostly because of the extreme rhetoric. I hadn't been following the case closely, though. Now I feel very naive. This is bonkers. She's making things up, mostly because of the extreme rhetoric. Let me explain to you what extreme rhetoric is. Extreme rhetoric is release the hostages, Joe. Extreme rhetoric is attacking your sexual assault victim and mocking her. Extreme rhetoric is praising January 6th insurrectionists and replacing our national anthem with a song by the J6th Choir. This is Donald Trump at every one of his speeches. It begins not with our national anthem, but with the J6th Choir song. Here, play this clip.
And they asked me whether or not I would partake and do the beautiful words, and I said yes, I would. And you saw the spirit. The spirit was incredible. And when that came out, it went to the #1 song. It was beating everybody. It beat Taylor Swift. It beat Miley Cyrus, who was #1 and 2. They were #1 and 2. We knocked them off for a long time.
Show you extreme rhetoric. On the one hand, you have President Biden says there's no place in America for political violence. No exceptions. We cannot allow this kind of violence to be normalized. Donald Trump. The January 6th hoax in Washington, D.C. So again, please don't gaslight me that calling out this behavior of what these MAGA Republicans is doing, that is equal, that is both sides need to tone it down. The pro-democracy community is saying, we want democracy, we want compassion, stay out of our lives, MAGAs, stop trying to banning women's reproductive freedoms, stop banning books, stop putting your AR-15s everywhere. By the way, speaking of which, at the RNC, when you show up at the RNC, they are giving away raffles for AR-15s right now. Raffling off AR-15s, the gun that was used by a Republican white male 20-year-old gun nut in Butler, Pennsylvania. Free AR-15 raffles. That's what's going on there. So enough about the both sides crap. This is who Donald Trump has been. This is who Donald Trump always will be. And yes, when Donald Trump makes statements that are almost verbatim what Hitler says, I'm going to call it out. And you can call me out for saying it, but I'm going to show you how they are very similar, how the statements are almost identical, and that these are not normal things that are used in everyday language. Trump echoing Hitler's words on the campaign trail. I will get rid of the communist vermin. I will get rid of the communist vermin. I will take care of the enemy within. Trump, I will take care of the threat from within. Hitler, Jews and migrants are poisoning Aryan blood. Migrants are poisoning blood of our country. Hitler, one people, one realm, one leader. One people, one family, one glorious nation. These aren't normal words that are just used in political speeches before. Release the hostages, Joe, J6 Choir, all of Donald Trump's QAnon posts. Remember after Nancy Pelosi's husband was the victim of an attempted murder, the first thing Donald Trump did was repost a QAnon meme, which is a death cult which spreads the conspiracies, where we go one, we go all. That's what Trump's posting. And he's posted over 2,000 QAnon memes in the past years. Not a peep from the media. Not a peep, just posting QAnon memes almost every day. And right after Nancy Pelosi's husband was the victim of an attempted murder. And then Donald Trump goes out and mocks it. He mocks Nancy Pelosi's husband. Makes a joke about it. Play this clip.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know? And she's against building a wall at our border, even though she has a wall around her house, which obviously didn't do a very good job.
And then Donald Trump reposts videos of President Biden hogtied and gagged. And then we're told, oh, that was just a repost. He just posted a video. He posted the video of the President of the United States being gagged and hogtied. What are we even talking about here? So judge for yourself, people. Take a look at it yourself. Look at the facts. And that's what Donald Trump's out there posting now. He's out there posting right away, that type of stuff. It's ridiculous and absurd. On the other hand, here's what President Biden's saying. Play the clip.
I believe politics ought to be an arena for peaceful debate, to pursue justice, to make decisions guided by the Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. We stand for an America, not of extremism and fury, but of decency and grace. All of us now face a time of testing as the election approaches. And the higher the stakes, the more fervent the passions become. This places an added burden on each of us to ensure that no matter how strong our convictions, we must never descend into violence.
I'll show you one more clip of President Biden. Play the clip.
Here in America, everyone must be treated with dignity and respect, and hate must have no safe harbor. Here in America, we need to get out of our silos, where we only listen to those with whom we agree, where misinformation is rampant, where foreign actors fan the flames of our division to shape the outcomes consistent with their interests, not ours. Let's remember, here in America, while unity is the most elusive of goals right now, nothing is more important for us now than standing together. We can do this. You know, from the beginning, our founders understood the power of passion. So they created a democracy that gave reason and balance a chance to prevail over brute force. That's the American we must be. An American democracy where arguments are made in good faith. An American democracy where the rule of law is respected. An American democracy where decency, dignity, fair play aren't just quaint notions, but living, breathing realities. We owe that to those who come before us, to those who gave their lives for this country. We owe that to ourselves. We owe it to our children and our grandchildren. Look, let's never lose sight of who we are. Let's remember we are the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together.
Folks, every single day we have to work. We have to work. You saw Judge Cannon's ruling. You saw the Supreme Court's ruling. You see what corporate media is doing every single day. There's more of us than there are them. They are not on our side. Is it very clear to you now? I hope if my rhetoric seemed hyperbolic before, it seems even-keeled and tempered now because we recognize what they are doing. They think this is going to make them richer, make them more money, screw over we the people. Not going to happen. We're in this together. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million together. Thanks for watching.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.